Hello everyone, my name is Courtney Pollock and I'm the Customer Marketing Coordinator for SWK Technologies. I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, IT Budgeting for 2025, What You Should Be Considering But Aren't, presented by David Monroe. So before we get started, I want to go over just a few housekeeping items. Everyone has been placed on mute to keep the background noise to a minimum. However, throughout the webinar, you can submit any questions you have. If you'd like to submit a question, look for the questions section in your GoToWebinar, and we're going to answer all those questions at the end of the presentation. In your GoToWebinar panel, you also have the option to change the presentation layout and zoom in if you're having any issues seeing any of the text. We're also recording today's presentation, and it will be distributed tomorrow to all attendees, as well as those who registered but were unable to attend today. And with that said, we'd also appreciate your participation in our closing poll and survey. So we're thrilled that you've taken some time out of your busy day to be with us on this session. SWK is always here to help you fulfill your vision of a smarter and easier way to run your business by providing you with tools, support, software, and industry knowledge whenever you need it. And as a quick reminder, we're constantly sharing important updates and software tips and tricks on our social media. So check us out, give us a follow on LinkedIn, Twitter/X, Facebook, and YouTube so you don't miss out on other, important content and information. Now, that's enough from me. I'm going to hand it over to David for the main event.
Thanks, Courtney. Excuse me. Thanks, Courtney. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dave Monroe. I'm a technical account manager here at SWK. In my role as technical account manager, my goal is to guide my clients through some complex infrastructure, cybersecurity, licensing, and line of business application challenges. My goal is to maintain open communication with my clients, building a relationship that is built on trust and transparency. Quick note on the agenda for today. First, we're going to take a look at some IT budgeting essentials. We'll go over some essentials such as aligning technology spend with business objectives, lifecycle management costing, and growth. Next, we'll dive into what is often overlooked in the budgeting process. We'll do a deep dive with some concrete examples of what I see often is overlooked. Next, we'll go in and talk about how to evaluate your current IT spend. We'll look at effective strategies for hardware and software planning, and we'll also take a dive into evaluating what you're currently spending, different strategies when you're looking at evaluating your current IT spend. Next, we'll go into long-term budgeting and future-proofing. We'll discuss budgeting for scalable technology investments, right? So setting aside budgets for security compliance tools, security compliance services, and then planning also for IT personnel. And then lastly, we'll take a look at partnering with SWK to simplify IT management and also simplify your budgeting. A quick overview on SWK Technologies. If you're not familiar, we're a nationally recognized MSP and solutions provider in North America. We have nationwide coverage and leverage over 170 employees to delight our customers and enable success. And now let's get into the presentation. IT budgeting essentials. So IT budgeting is foundational for aligning technology investments with business goals. A well-structured budget ensures that essential technology resources from hardware to software to infrastructure and support are all accounted for, allowing for smooth operations and minimal disruptions. The first bullet point there, scalable technology investments. Investing in scalable technology ensures that IT infrastructure can grow with your business needs without the need for constant replacements or major upgrades. Scalable solutions such as cloud computing and virtualization allow your organization to adapt quickly to changes, whether it's adding storage, increasing CPU, or expanding user access. Budgeting for scalable technology also reduces the risk of running into limitations as your organization grows and helps avoid costly disruptive overhauls. Now, if leveraging an on-premise virtual environment, so let's say you have a hardware server that's on-premise there, this means when scoping out the hardware, taking into account a minimum of 5-year business growth plan. This will have a direct impact on the hardware you'll want to procure. If your business is already leveraging SWK's cloud or another cloud environment, you'll want to take a look at the previous year's actual spend and then allow for a rough 5 to 7% year-over-year growth trend. And that's a good place to start when budgeting. Next, you'll want to prioritize cybersecurity tool sets and services. So cybersecurity should be the top priority in any IT budget, as the cost of data breaches and cyber attacks can be far greater than any preventative measures. Make sure to allocate funds for a comprehensive suite of cybersecurity tools such as firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and endpoint protection tools as well. Consider investing in regular penetration and vulnerability testing, employee security awareness training, business continuity and disaster recovery solutions, and also BCDR incident and response plans to stay ahead of or react to any potential threats. Additionally, if leveraging Microsoft 365, maybe it's a good idea to put aside funds for increasing your Microsoft Secure Score. Microsoft Secure Score is a measurement of your organization's overall security posture from a Microsoft standpoint, with a higher score indicating stronger security. It provides recommendations to improve security by identifying potential vulnerabilities and suggesting actions to mitigate them. Also consider any compliance boards or frameworks your business must adhere to. Some examples are NIST, HIPAA, PCI DSS. Proactive cybersecurity investments safeguard sensitive data, maintain client SWK trust, and also avoid costly downtime due to attacks. Next, maintenance and extended vendor support cost planning. So regular maintenance and extended support agreements are essential to keep your systems running smoothly and extend the life of your critical IT assets. Make sure to budget for ongoing maintenance to prevent unexpected failures and reduce long-term repair costs. The cost of an extended support plan is often far less and also covers more than the cost of a new component. One of the key benefits to working with an SWK technical account manager, such as myself, is not to only hone in on these costs, but also create a schedule of when these critical pieces of hardware are up for renewal or expiration, or end of life as well. Next, hardware licensing and software support, software upgrades. So IT infrastructure requires periodic updates to maintain compatibility, performance, and security. Make sure to budget for a hardware refresh life cycles to replace outdated equipment before before it affects productivity, and also set aside funds for software licensing renewals to maintain any compliance needs that you have. Software upgrades also prevent vulnerabilities associated with unsupported versions and provide access to new features that enhance productivity. Proactive upgrade planning ensures that systems run efficiently and avoid issues due to obsolete technology. Next, one of the essentials, and it's often overlooked too, setting up a contingency fund within your IT budget. So a contingency fund within your IT budget provides a buffer for unexpected expenses, such as emergency repairs, sudden scaling needs, or compliance necessitated improvements. These unforeseen expenses can strain a budget if not prepared for in advance. Having a contingency fund enables quick responses to IT challenges, allowing your organization to manage crises effectively without impacting other essential budget areas. A good contingency fund could amount to around 10 to 15% of your overall IT budget. When planning for a contingency fund, it's always better to overestimate than underestimate. Now, what is often overlooked? So a common oversight in IT budgeting is underestimating costs related to maintenance, security upgrades, and potential downtime. Hidden costs like software licensing fees, ongoing vendor support subscriptions, essentially extended warranties, and the need for periodic upgrades are often missed. First point I want to call out here, extended support on critical infrastructure. Extended support agreements are often overlooked because they are seen as an additional non-essential expense, especially when the infrastructure is still functioning well. Unfortunately, underestimating their value can end up costing 10 times the amount in the long run, really impacting your future budget in a negative way. To get ahead of this, it's crucial that all critical infrastructure, such as firewall, servers, routers, switches, wireless access points, etc., all have extended vendor support. Licensing fees and software renewals. Licensing fees and renewals can be complex and often not top of mind after the initial purchase. The complexity of licensing agreements and long intervals between renewals can lead to these costs being forgotten. To get through this, implement an auditing and internal reminder process. When the software or licensing is initially purchased or renewed, set up reminders at regular intervals. Include them in your quarterly technology reviews as well. Work with your provider to get ahead and prepare. Additionally, where applicable, negotiate multi-year agreements. Not only does it make managing renewals easier, but it can also potentially lead to some cost savings. Plus, providers really like those multi-year agreements as well. Updated BCDR solutions. So BCDR, Business Continuity, Disaster, and Recovery. So as a technical account manager, I've seen a lot of clients not update or upgrade their business backup solution hardware because of the if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality. That's really a disastrous way of thinking, especially when it comes to business continuity. The importance of maintaining operations is crucial during a crisis. BCDR solutions help ensure that. However, I witness so many clients that do not prioritize this piece of their IT strategy. My take, update the hardware, update the software, get current on licensing, and ensure current warranty or extended services. Make this a cornerstone of your IT budgeting process. The absolute last thing you want or need during a crisis is a failing backup. End of life resources, so end of life hardware, end of life software. So a lot of organizations often continue using hardware and software beyond their end of life date due to the high cost of the replacements and the belief that existing systems are still adequate. This can lead to security vulnerabilities and compatibility issues. There are still organizations running on Windows 7, Windows 8, Server 2012, and so on. Operating on outdated software, including operating systems, create security vulnerabilities that are exploited daily. Those vulnerabilities, especially on the outdated systems like Windows 7, Windows 8, and Server 12, they're often only a quick Google search away. Make sure to work with your provider to create a lifecycle management plan. As a technical account manager, this is something I work with my clients on daily. In addition to preventing known vulnerabilities to potentially be exploited, budgeting for these expenses ahead of time allows you to know and plan for the costs associated with upgrading. I mainly in this, the last few minutes here, I mainly touched on the software side of things. For the hardware side of things, the same logic applies. Cybersecurity awareness training. This is overlooked perhaps more than any other security service. Cybersecurity training is often deprioritized in favor of more immediate technical solutions. There is also a misconception that once training is done, it doesn't need to be repeated. That is absolutely false. An organization's greatest asset is also its greatest weakness. It's people. Phishing has been on the rise and is showing no signs of slowing down. Implementing a robust ongoing cybersecurity awareness training program is essential. Your staff will definitely get phishing emails. Help educate in identifying them. Integrate cyber training into your company culture. Work with your provider to budget for the cybersecurity awareness training solution of their choice, right? Of your choice. Don't let it go overlooked any longer. It's a crucial piece of your IT strategy. Next, I want to take a look at evaluating your current IT spend. It's essential to incorporate a proactive approach by planning for upcoming costs, such as hardware refresh life cycles and software version updates, to avoid sudden expenses and ensure continuous operations without performance dips. Excuse me. Make sure to conduct regular audits. Regular audits help identify inefficiencies, redundancies, and areas where costs can be optimized. Perform comprehensive reviews of all IT assets, software licenses, and service contracts. As a technical account manager, I'm often deep in these discussions with my clients that I manage on a daily basis. Next, you want to track your previous spend against your budget. So make sure to regularly track your actual IT spend against the budget that you have prepared in the past. And this helps identify variances in areas where spending may be exceeding or falling short of those expectations. And make sure to track spending in an organized way. I recommend breaking it down by category. So looking at cybersecurity, if you're looking at hardware, if you're looking at software, and those also can be broken down into any subcategories that make sense. Make sure to leverage real-time data. So data analytics can provide detailed insights into IT usage patterns, helping to identify cost-saving opportunities. SWK managed service clients receive monthly executive summary reports that aid in this process. Make sure to also implement tools that track and analyze IT resource usage, such as network management, hardware performance, disk utilization, and much more. As a SWK managed services client, SWK implements a lot of these tools as a part of those agreements. These greatly assist in decisions where to allocate dollars, right? So for example, if you see a server is nearing capacity, you can reference your budget to plan an expansion. Likewise, if you receive an alert, or if we receive an alert that states your hosted server is consistently spiking in memory, you're able to plan for a resource increase. And having these regular technology reviews, either internally or with your technical account manager, if you're a managed services client of SWK, these are conversations that we should have, at least once every 3 months, if not more frequently. Analyze cost versus value for each IT investment. So regularly assess the value of each IT investment that each IT investment brings to your organization relative to its cost. Look at metrics like productivity improvements, cost savings, or enhanced security to ensure that each investment contributes positively to the business. This helps identify underperforming assets that may require reevaluation or reallocation. Make sure to assess return on investment for major IT projects. This is a really big one here. For significant IT initiatives, measure the ROI to determine if the investment is meeting the intended business goals, right? That's why we go through these projects, these improvements. This includes looking at operational efficiency gains, reduced downtime, or increased revenue opportunities for your business. A couple examples here. So when looking at on-premise server infrastructure, right? So prior to moving partially or entirely to a cloud environment, let's say, did you experience downtime? What did that cost you in lost productivity? What has that looked like since the migration, right? So since the migrating from on-premise to the cloud, did you see increase in productivity, increase in performance? Did you find yourself in situations where the hardware needed upgrades? Things of that nature, right? Another example, more of a case study, really, actually. So I had a client that I was dealing with staff retention issues, right? And this one particular issue involved someone essentially hitting Control A and deleting their entire email history and then emptying their mailbox. By the time the client realized this, a week had gone by. The time to recover those emails from the trash had lapsed. Luckily, the client had something we call SaaS protection, a SaaS protection service from SWK that was built into their agreement. That service backed up the emails and files inside of Microsoft 365. The only further headache the client had to endure that day was a short support request, a short support ticket, and we had those emails restored shortly after. There are many more examples on how to measure ROI, right? So for the lost email and lost files example there, just kind of imagine what that would have looked like, having to first look for that information, realize it's not there, and then try to piece together the information or piece together whatever it was you're looking for. That would have cost you time and cost you employee time, lost productivity, not to mention maybe a lost opportunity with one of your clients. There are many more examples of how to measure ROI. These two that I just mentioned stick out in my mind, as were the investments, right? And ones that could have cost significantly more at the time to budget and implement those solutions had not taken place. Next, take a look at long-term planning and future-proofing. So long-term IT planning involves anticipating technological trends, scaling infrastructure to support growth, and incorporating emerging technologies like cloud services, automation tool sets, and IT personnel to manage it all. Anticipating technological trends. So stay ahead by continuously monitoring and evaluating emerging technologies and industry trends to ensure your IT strategy remains relevant and competitive. Set aside some funds to experiment in a new trend or a new service. Build that into your budget, right? So at least when you go to, take a look, you've freed up some funds and you're able to maybe try something out that might work for you. Scaling infrastructure and incorporating cloud services for growth. Make sure to allocate funds that specifically are designed to invest in scalable infrastructure and services. We touched upon this a bit briefly, maybe a little more than a bit, from a hosted server to Microsoft 365 SaaS protection services, as previous two examples. Set aside funds that allow your organization to invest in these scalable emerging solutions. You can scale up, scale down, depending on what the needs are at the moment, right? That's one of the I would say future technological trends, right? Scaling infrastructure, cloud services. Also, automation tools. Make sure to set aside a piece of your budget for automation tool sets. If managing your own IT infrastructure, this could be an endpoint detection and response tool or a network monitoring tool. If you're an SWK managed services client, there are certain automation tools we leverage in monitoring and supporting your network and endpoints already. And then lastly, they're managing IT personnel. If starting from scratch, you want to evaluate the complexity of your entire IT environment, evaluate your business growth plans, and then determine the skills needed to manage it all. If not starting from scratch, your organization may be considering using a managed services provider such as SWK to manage your IT infrastructure. I will get into some of the benefits of this path in the next slide, but for now, make sure to leave room in a budget for either an internal team, an external team, or both. I do have an additional point here that I did not include on the slide that I just want to kind of go through for a second. Also, when taking long-term planning and future-proofing into account, security and compliance has to be a part of that conversation as well. In long-term IT budgeting and planning, security and compliance should occupy a significant portion of internal conversations and budget line items. Some items to consider are BCDR solutions. We touched upon that briefly earlier. Same thing with cybersecurity training, but also firewall lifecycle management, incident response plans, cyber liability insurance. That's a real big one. Microsoft security policies for email, SaaS protection. Those are all security services that if you're not having conversations around or leveraging, definitely reach out to us to see how we can assist. But those are definitely areas in which I would definitely pay attention, right? When budgeting these items, it's important to assess what you currently have and your current needs in those areas, but to also take a look at your business growth plans and then work either through your provider or your technical account manager, if you're a managed services client of SWK, to create a long-term cost to implement strategy. Future-proofing in IT, making strategic investments to ensure your technology remains adaptable, resilient, and relevant as business needs and technologies evolve. And that's really, really crucial, really important. By prioritizing scalable infrastructure and cybersecurity measures and services, you can build a flexible foundation that supports growth and minimizes disruptions. Future-proofing also includes anticipating industry trends such as automation, cloud migrations, and allocating resources effectively to make sure you're managing your IT personnel effectively. This proactive approach lends itself to spreading costs out over time, which is always a budget-friendly approach, right? The more you can see, the more you can build in, the less of a surprise and less reactive you have to be later on. Excuse me, really dry throat those last couple of days. So next, partnering with SWK to simplify your IT management and budgeting. So partnering with SWK can significantly enhance IT efficiency, security, and cost effectiveness for organizations of all sizes. SWK brings specialized expertise, proactive maintenance, and scalable solutions that streamline IT management and support growth without overwhelming your internal resources. SWK also has co-managed services and package in which we work side by side with your existing IT resource or your existing IT team. By providing predictable costs and comprehensive support, we allow businesses to focus on their core operations while ensuring that their technology infrastructure remains reliable, secure, and aligned with your organizational goals. And how do we do this? Let's get into it. Predictable monthly costs. So working with SWK means paying a fixed monthly fee for a set of managed services or hosted infrastructure. This predictable expense allows for better budgeting and financial planning, as it eliminates the surprise costs that can arise from unexpected IT issues. With the predictable cost structure, you can allocate resources more effectively and avoid budget overruns due to emergency repairs or additional support requirements. Next, you have access to a dedicated team of experts. SWK provides access to a team of specialized IT experts without the expense of hiring full-time staff. This expertise spans areas such as network management, cybersecurity, cloud solutions, and compliance, enabling businesses to benefit from high-quality support and knowledge. Having expert resources on hand also ensures quick resolution of complex IT issues, reducing your downtime and increasing your overall efficiency. Proactive maintenance and monitoring. So SWK uses a really advanced set of tools to monitor your IT infrastructure around the clock, identifying and addressing potential issues before they lead to downtime or data loss. This proactive approach helps maintain system performance and reliability, preventing small problems from escalating to costly repairs or disruptions. Regular maintenance provided by SWK also extends the life of IT assets, maximizing the value of investments over time. One example here, if you have an on-premise server, and there's any, we receive alerts on all facets of that particular server, whether it's network, whether it's a hard disk space, power, etc. Right? So there's several times a day I get alerts that maybe one of my clients, their hard drive is showing signs of failing, right? We're able to kind of get ahead of that. Uh, we're able to get ahead of that and advise them, hey, it's time to replace or it's time to migrate off of this drive before it fails, right? So that's one of the ways that we are proactive. Same thing with network monitoring, same thing with any kind of power anomalies, right? We get an alert for everything, or most things, I should say. Scalable solutions. SWK stays updated on the latest security threats and compliance requirements, implementing robust security protocols and tools to protect data and meet regulatory standards. We help businesses manage security risks by offering advanced threat detection, firewall management, and employee security training. SWK can help ensure compliance with industry regulations, reducing the risk of fines and penalties for noncompliance. Another great benefit, you get your own dedicated technical account manager. Your technical account manager, or TAM, serves as your primary point of contact within SWK. The TAM understands the specific needs of your business, helps tailor IT strategies, and ensures alignment with your organizational goals. This personalized attention enables more efficient IT planning and smoother communication, allowing the business to fully leverage SWK services. We also serve as an escalation point with high internal visibility when the time comes where an escalation is warranted. Lastly, regular technology and budget reviews. Your TAM will conduct regular reviews of your technology performance, upcoming needs, and budget alignment to ensure IT strategies remain on track. These reviews help identify areas where adjustments may be needed, such as upgrading outdated equipment or reallocating resources to support new projects. Regular budget reviews also provide visibility into IT spending trends, helping you make informed financial decisions and improve future budgeting accuracy and predictability. That's a mouthful. In short, your TAM is your number one go-to resource, the liaison to rest at SWK and all the services that we offer. Right? We're here to help you manage through manage through those processes. Right? So if there's ever a question on anything, where to go for this, potential solution for that, we're here. We run the gamut of responsibilities. Right? So we're here to help any way we can. Thank you very much. As far as new content, that's all I have for you today. I did want to take a second here to kind of go over, to recap a few of the bullet points that I brought up during the presentation, and just kind of called them out here for you. So the first one I just want to go over again, IT budgeting as a foundation for alignment. So IT budgeting is essential to align your technology investments with business objectives. A structured budget helps avoid disruptions by ensuring necessary resources such as hardware, software, infrastructure. They're all consistently and adequately funded. We definitely want to make sure of that. Prioritizing scalable infrastructure and cybersecurity investments. This is perhaps one of the most important areas in which you can budget for, right? So you need to be a couple of things. One, you want to be secure, right? Investing in cybersecurity services definitely helps there, but also prioritizing scalable infrastructure. As your business grows, that's going to be essential there. So definitely make sure to prioritize those two things. Regular audits and ROI tracking. Frequent IT spend audits help identify cost-saving opportunities and evaluate IT investments. So assessing ROI on major IT projects ensures that they deliver what the intended business value was. Allowing for an informed, impactful budgeting down the road. Long-term planning and future-proofing. So future-proofing involves budgeting for emerging technology trends, cybersecurity, and compliance as well. This approach helps maintain adaptability, support your business growth, and ensures that IT remains relevant and resilient. And lastly, partner with SWK. Partnering with SWK it provides provides you the ability to you're going to have predictable costs and access to a dedicated team, right? So that's going to enhance your IT efficiency. Regular technology and budget reviews by your TAM also is something that is a huge benefit. It kind of gives you a bird's eye view of what your current IT spend is, but also, depending on the timing allows you to kind of get really involved in nitty gritty as well with the budgeting process. So we're here to, help facilitate that. So like I said, that concludes the new content portion of today's webinar. SWK is available to provide a helping hand if needed. We have an IT consulting and services division that can help you with any problems or requests to improve performance and your overall security, and also provide any of the services that you see here on the screen. So we do have a special webinar offer. For this webinar, we're offering a free 30-minute IT budgeting overview and consult. That'll mainly be done through me. So if you're interested, just contact info@swktech.com to schedule, and also mention this webinar. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and kick it back over to Courtney for the Q&A.
Thank you, David. That was really great. I'm sure I'm not the only one that is going to be going back and referencing that presentation deck for all those checklist items and all the different things that need to be considered when thinking about your IT budget for the next year. So thank you for giving us a lot of really great information. There are a lot of aspects there that I'm sure, some people had not considered yet. I'm sure we have some questions about those. So if you have a question, now is the time. We've got our expert here with us. So go ahead and get those questions entered into the question section. I know I've already seen a few, so we'll dive into those in just a second. And then in the meantime, Dave just told us about that offer. So we'd like to know if you want to, take advantage of that offer and get that free 30-minute IT budgeting consult. That's a great opportunity. There was a lot there. And so you can really have an expert talk to you, go through the details, look at, what you're planning on and dive into it with you. So it's a great free opportunity. Or, we can tell you some more about our managed cloud services. There's a lot of different things there if you saw on that slide, and maybe you're thinking, okay, it's the end of the year, I'm really busy. Contact me, at the beginning of next year, and we'll dive into how we're going to handle things in 2025. So thank you for everyone who's participated in that so far. And, Dave, let me see what questions we've had come in. We'll close out that poll in just a second.
All right, cool.
Okay. Let's take a look. So first question I have for you, is there one thing that you see most often overlooked during the budgeting process?
So yes, I'm going to go back to some cyber services, right? So security awareness training. I cannot impress upon everyone enough how essential that is. Bad actors are getting really, really good at disguising their emails, right? So that's something that I would definitely take a look at. Budgeting for whenever your next budget cycle is, or even if you can, sooner, if you had that contingency fund available, definitely consider taking a look at, some cyber services. But that cyber awareness training is definitely something that sticks out in mind.
Okay, that's great to know. Another question we have from the audience was, is there any new technology or trends that we should be considering in our budget for next year?
So as far as new technologies or trends, so that really depends on kind of what your current stack looks like, right? So of course, there's automation. I'm going to say cybersecurity again. Those aren't really, trends or anything new, but those are two areas that I would invest in. But before doing any of that, I would take a look at what you currently are spending your IT on, the categories, see if there's any improvements that can be made with what you have, and invest those dollars there. Establishing a pretty strong base before we move on to like any kind of trends. So having a strong foundation, I think, is more important than hopping on any trend, right? So, but if the foundation is there and you're solid, then looking at some of those automation tool sets that I was kind of talking about there in the webinar is a good place to start.
Okay, that definitely makes sense. And then I think, unless we have a last minute submission, I think our last question we had is, does SWK help review the IT budget if you're not a managed service client? So I know we talked about that offer to take advantage of it or to get an IT budget review. Do they have to be a managed service client?
So yeah, that's a great question. So yeah, as far as budgeting, IT budgeting reviews, business technology reviews, that is something that is a premium, service that you get as a result, or a value add as you get as a result of being an SWK managed services client. Um, so yeah, in short, yes, but there's some context there. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah,
In short, I apologize. In short, yes, you have to be a SWK, a managed services client for that, right? That's just one of the value adds we have as a part of the agreement.
perfect. Yeah, but and if you're not a client yet, but you want to look into it, definitely let us know, and we can talk about that webinar offer.
Absolutely. Thank
So
you for
I
that.
think that is all the questions we have for today. So if we want to go on to our final slide and tell the people where to contact us, we want to say a quick thank you for taking the time out of your busy, Wednesday to be with us on this session. We hope you found, it insightful, and that was a lot of great information about IT budgeting. So if you have any follow-up questions that you think about a later date, you can always reach us at info@swktech.com. Visit our website. We put out a lot of great blogs about IT, managed cloud services, the cloud, you name it, anything you want to know when it comes to tech, that's on our blog. And as we said, you can follow us on social media. So thank you all. Thank you, Dave, for a really great presentation, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.